let's assume that Russia does accept the ceasefire deal. Do you think that they will use this ceasefire deal to merely serve as a tactical pause for their side to regroup militarily, or do you think that there will be a true and honest motivation for Russian motivation for a lasting peace?
Yeah, one of the major problem in that talk in Saudi Arabia that both of the Europe and Ukraine they don't really trust, the Russia intentions. Of course, Donald Trump he did mention many times, that is, Russia is coming, to make a real peace. But in 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 terms of understanding, the position of Russia, Russia, of course, is still a middle power. Russia still has a nuclear weapons that can really make the position of Russia in international politics pretty significant. So, I can see that Trump, position to make that kind of mediation between the Russians and Ukraine and Saudi Arabia. It's really facing a huge challenge, particularly in that kind of shifting alliances, NATO rules, energy and trade, and minerals, and that kind of potential agreement between Ukraine and the United States. So shifting alliances, this is really shaking Europe, particularly if you really need to think about the future of international cooperations, resolution, that we can really think what is the best resolution to resolve that conflict. Particularly, you need really major diplomatic victory, and if, from our or by United States. But keep in your mind that also Russia need to achieve major war victory, and this is not really easy to make that kind of influence of United States in that talk. Of course, Saudi Arabia is making a very neutral mediator, and that role has been a key in keeping that talk going in Kingdom of Saudi Arabia.
Then, Dr. Singer, what sort of key conditions Russia might demand for accepting the ceasefire?
Oh, this is a very good question. First of all, after I ran different models to understand what the future of Russia-Ukraine war, what really I found, it's really clear Russia need to keep Crimea. No one can really talk about restoring Crimea back. Second, all the territories that Russia already occupied need to keep them all. Third, Ukraine shouldn't really join the NATO. It seems to me like Trump agreed on these conditions before even talking with Ukraine and Europe. So basically, what is really clear that Trump will impose, the United States or his preferences in Zelensky and Europeans to move more to achieve that kind of, achieve the goal of that peace. But for my point of view, it's still that condition of peace from Russia is not really convincing, Europe, because Europe is still, seeing Russia or watching, Russia movement is still a threat to Europe, and Poland and other countries. They are not really happy with that movement by United States to convince, Russia that can really make real peace. So still there is a huge doubt between Europeans and Russia before to talk about like real or achieve peace between Ukraine and Russia. So still the United States does need to talk and work with Europe, but the timing of that talk with Europe is not really right time after Trump mentioned about the Greenland and Denmark.